An intro song, that's nice. How's everybody doing? Thanks for having me. This is actually my second year in a row giving a keynote here at AWE, and so I'm excited to be back. It's actually interesting because last year I was in a different role at a different company, but the talk that I gave, I think it was titled Artificial Intelligence for an Augmented World, actually ended up touching on a lot of topics. A big focus of the talk was essentially augmented reality beyond sight. And so I've taken a lot of that content in a previous role and rolled that into a lot of what I end up talking about here at Bose, which is obviously focused on audio-based augmented reality. You can see that my recent history is in AI, XR, and mobile, basically bleeding edge technologies at the point at which they were bleeding edge, and that's probably why I'm up on stage here talking to you. I'm a bit of a futurist tinkerer. I happen to run the global developer advocacy team at Bose, and you might be thinking, why would Bose need developer relations? Well, hopefully that will become apparent over the course of this talk as we talk about what Bose AR is and what sound-first approach to AR might look like. We also have some fun updates, and I am very excited to be able to give a brief announcement, which should be fun. So that's in the middle of the talk. Yeah, there you go. Let's get a whoop for announcements. Somebody had their afternoon coffee. I like it. You guys aren't asleep. So when talking about what is Bose AR, I think it's useful to first talk about what it isn't, do some level setting. Bose AR is not a VR headset you strap to your face. It's not smart glasses that use object detection. And it's not mobile phone-based visual augmented reality. So we can kind of rule those categories out. I mean, I will concede that, for instance, most, if not all, the talks today that were given were exclusively focused on the visual aspect of augmented reality, and that's fair. That's our primary sense. That's how we primarily interact with the world. I have 2 dogs, and I'm very keenly aware every day that they primarily interact with the world through smell. And so that as kind of a reflection of mammalian life, I'm always thinking about the primacy of sight. But we do have 5 senses, and I would say that sound and hearing comes in a close second, and we use it for very distinct purposes. And I think that we can all maybe agree that we got the visual cortex on lock, right? Like we got that covered. We know what we're doing there. There's all these great initiatives that are going to turn the world into a screen and give us a lot of metadata and allow us to do things and learn things and see things and make things in ways that we couldn't using visuals, but I would argue not exclusively limited to visuals. So what is Bose AR? Bose AR is a heads-up, hands-free, audio-first approach to augmented reality. What do I mean by that? Bose AR devices Bose AR-enabled devices, which I'll talk about in a little bit when we talk about products, are enabled by a little sensor bundle. And that sensor bundle, when connected via a Bluetooth connection to a mobile app, so all Bose AR experiences are mobile apps, it reads the sensor data off the device that you're wearing via a secure Bluetooth low energy connection, and it can allow you to do certain things. So this is a little bit about the sensors. It's a sensor bundle made by Bosch, and there are three sensors that comprise the IMU, and it's much like what you might find in your phone. So this is fun little, for some reason I find this a very satisfying animation here. This is essentially what an accelerometer does. It measures acceleration from any point in any direction. A gyroscope, which you also have on your phone, which can register turns, et cetera. And a magnetometer. Some people call it a compass. It's really a magnetometer because it senses magnetic north. This is the same sort of sensor that you have on your mobile device that lets you use Google Maps or Apple Maps or the like and generally orient yourself in the world, or use the compass app. There's a lot going on under the hood with a sensor like this that I've become more aware of since I joined Bose than I ever had before. You have to account for what's called magnetic declination, because magnetic north is not true north, and all that people really want to know is where is north, like true north, not where is the North Pole, which is magnetic north. There's also magnetic interference, and there's a calibration that needs to happen even on your mobile phone. It just kind of happens under the hood. If you've ever seen like a wider circle around your arrow in Google Maps, for example, that's it calibrating and trying to figure out and give you kind of a bit of a UI telling you it's guessing at the moment, and there's a lot of that going on. But this allows you to essentially sense direction. And with those 3 sensors, it allows us to understand gestures. So what am I talking about when I say gestures? So this is an example of on one of our devices that's Bose AR enabled. The first one we've released, Bose Frames. This is an input gesture. And developers don't have to do any custom algorithmic anything. They just can call input, and then it will recognize when you do a double tap, that is an input that you're giving. It also recognizes affirmative and negative. The reason we're not calling this nod and shake anymore, in earlier versions of the SDK we were, is because we want to allow this to be an abstraction that can allow for maybe other methods of affirming or denying, in addition to head nod and head shake, which are supported. So if you as a developer say, I want to recognize a head nod, you say when head nod does this, then X happens or whatever, right? Or I'm sorry, when affirmative is registered, X happens. And you can also specify which affirmative. Right now, it's limited to head nod and head shake. But you can imagine voice integrations in the future or other ways of, maybe society-based differences in how you might affirm or deny something, et cetera. So you can also access the raw data as a developer. And this will allow you to do things like custom gestures. So this is just an example of how you might build a game that can understand if you're, you should be hitting, maybe the balls feel like they're, the sound's coming at you or to the right or to the left, and you have to kind of dodge a little bit. But you can do a lot with custom gestures. We've already seen developers do really useful to silly things like a jumping jack rep counter that's registering when you're just sort of vertically jumping, or a sup gesture, sup being like this sort of thing. Not quite a shake, but just like somebody did that. Or turning around. There's an app called Frames that's like an interactive espionage novel, and it asks you to duck at a certain point. Those are all custom gestures based on the raw sensor data. Okay, so this is a fun part. Let's talk about products that support Bose AR. Let's talk about platforms that Bose AR supports, and then let's talk about tools to build Bose AR applications. So starting with products, Bose Frames were the first products that we announced with Bose AR in them. It's a new experimental form factor. Last year they were released. They are basically Bluetooth sunglasses. Sunglasses that have directional sound, open ear speakers that let you listen to music while you're on the go. There is no screen in the lens. That's something that I always have to be clear. And I think the fact that this was the first form factor and the only one for a brief period of time that had Bose AR in it, and given that AR and smart glasses with screens are the thing that people kind of connect, there was a bit of market confusion on that front, but there is no screen. It's not visual-based. It's gesture-based and voice input-based. The idea is you can leave your phone in your pocket and experience the world with your eyes, and at the same time get some of the functionality you expect from apps. And we'll go into details about a few examples of that in a minute. But other interesting things about this, there were just a lot of interesting UI, UX things that were tried. So, for example, when you turn it upside down, it turns the product off. It's just a gesture-based off button. And then there's just a lot of, it has obviously a microphone as well so that you can take calls, you can use voice assistants, et cetera. It's a really cool device. Recommend checking it out if you haven't. And yet people ask all the time that, is this supposed to be there? People ask all the time if frames come with other sorts of lenses, and I think we are starting to roll out a polarized version. These are unpolarized. And I do know that there are optometrists that will swap out the lenses for whatever prescription lens you want. I think that voids the warranty. I'm not sure what the status is on some sort of official program through Bose on that, but there are options. They're rolling out to the UK, I think, today, actually. And they're going to be starting to roll out worldwide as well. They've been a really big kind of niche hit, and we're sort of inventing a new form factor here, which combines two things that are kind of, somewhat of no-brainers. Additionally, we didn't tell anybody this, but we started shipping our most popular wearables, which are the Bose Quiet Comfort 35-2s, which are these that you might have seen if you've ever passed a business class on a plane. Everyone there has those, right? And I personally love these guys. And we started shipping them with Bose AR sensors in them last year. And I think this is a conservative estimate. If you bought it, or if it was manufactured after November of 2018, you have Bose AR functionality. During South by Southwest in Austin in March, we flipped that functionality on via a firmware update. And so we've got a lot of these devices stealth in market that people bought just because they love Bose. And it's like, oh, you have Bose AR functionality too. In addition, we have something that we're announcing today, and I'm just going to let the video play first.
I've always done the best I could to get out of my neighborhood. Growing up, I spilled my blood, but you're still my home. You can
So today we announced the Bose noise canceling headphones 700. That is the name. They'll be available in June. I have a pair here. I'm not going to be able to let people touch them or try them or do any press around it or anything, but I can dangle it in front of your face because I happen to bring it in town. So these have a lot of really interesting new designs and features. It's got capacitive touch. It has really great noise cancellation for when you're having a conversation using the microphone. It's got greatly improved noise cancellation with a lot of different ways you can customize it. User customizable, got good battery life. It also has support for wake words, for Google Voice, not Google Voice, Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa. So you don't even have to hit a button. You can actually just set it up so that you can say, you know, Alexa X or whatever. And a lot more. And you can find out more information about this, a lot of these features in this device and availability for your region online. I don't want to misspeak about where it might be available and for how much. It depends on where you are. Also, as it pertains to Bose AR, we're introducing a new feature called secure pairing. This is just part of Bose's commitment to prioritizing security with the Bluetooth connection. We're constantly iterating on the versions of the SDKs and trying to make it both a better experience for users and for developers, handling a lot of these sort of edge cases. It'll also tell you if you need to upgrade the firmware on the device in order to use the functionality that's in the application. So I just wanted to call that out briefly. And then I just want to go back on a promise that we made last year to shipping over 1 million devices that are Bose AR enabled in 2019. And those are the first 3 products that we are shipping with Bose AR in them, but every wearable that we make going forward will have Bose AR in it. And so if you're a developer, you know, that's part of our commitment to making it hopefully an attractive target platform where people buy Bose for the sound quality and for the premium design, et cetera, all the things that Bose brings to the table, and they get this extra benefit of AR. So it's not really a choice to buy an AR headset. It's an additional benefit to buying a Bose high-quality sound device. New promise is that for the next step, first of all, just going back to this slide, I think we are well on our way to hitting and exceeding this. Obviously, you know, the fact that we stealth shipped it in QC35s for quite a while helps out, as does this great new flagship product launch. But you're going to see more and more use cases be enabled by different form factors that have Bose AR in them. And now it's really all about content. It's about having apps that actually are useful, that people want to use with utility on a daily or habitual basis. And that's the new promise that we're making. And speaking of those, let me quickly go through platforms. So the platforms we support, and then we'll get into some specific app examples, which I think will really help ground the audience here and what Bose AR is and what it could be useful for and why you might actually be interested in it from a user perspective. So we support iOS native, Android native, and Unity for cross-platform deployment to mobile as part of the focus of Bose AR being something really low friction that people actually want to use. What are the platforms that we use the most often? The ones that we carry in our pockets. So we're very focused on delivering mobile app experiences, easy to pair with the Bluetooth device and on the go, et cetera. So tools. Right now we have the Bose AR SDKs, which are essentially target the 3 platforms I just mentioned. Unity, if you don't know, by the way, started life as a game engine, but now it's the most popular XR engine, I would say, out there. I heard a number I've heard between like 60 and 80% of all AR, VR mobile experiences are built using Unity, for example. We also, so if you're interested, in learning more about the SDK or the target platforms, it's free. The platform is available. The model for Bose is not that we want to monetize you for building with us. It's not an API situation. You can sign up right here at this website, developer.bose.com/bose-AR, and you get the SDK of your choice for free, and you can begin building. The value to us is that you build something great that our customers love. There's also a nascent creator tool. You can sign up to learn more information about that, but this is essentially a WYSIWYG web interface for building on a simplified subset of what you can do that I described earlier, spatial audio experiences, and then deploy them for now. This is just a couple of views from a build from a few months ago. Right now you can deploy to our Bose Radar mobile app, which has it's free, you can download it. If you have a Bose AR device, you can try this out. It's got a bunch of spatial soundscapes. There's a beach one I particularly like, where it sounds like the beach is in front of you and you close your eyes and look left and you hear like the seagulls behind you and then the wind, et cetera. Really, really fun stuff, and it's very easy to build an experience for Bose Radar. Unfortunately, it is not quite available for everyone to try yet, so it's a closed beta. You can sign up for more information on that. It should be available later this year, and you can also get there using this link. So let's talk about new experiences. In the gaming category, I'm going to talk through 3 examples of apps. All 3 of these are actually already in the app stores. And these came from various sources, but they're really fun. Okay, so Overheard. Overheard is an app that has you playing an Englishman being taunted by Frenchmen in castles that you can't see at night. And your job is to apparently throw bovines accurately at these taunting Frenchmen. It's basically all just a play on Monty Python, if you've ever seen that. So you got these smart, they're like, oh, you are so stupid, you cannot, you know. And then you got to say, okay, where is that guy? He's up there, okay. And then you have this sort of British, almost butler-sounding person. It's very stereotypical, and you're left, you're like, sir, a little lower, please. I'm probably not doing it justice, but the idea is you open the app on the phone, put it in your pocket, and then you're just listening for where these people are taunting you, and then you have to actually directionally position your head like it were a catapult, right? So that it can actually hit the target, and you might have to go lower or higher. It's a fun proof of concept. Comrade AR, also available in the App Store, is an espionage interactive novel where you start the app and there's this guy saying, hey, glad I tapped into the wire. And so you're doing all these secret agent things. It's like, okay, I need you to help me locate the EMP, and you have to listen for sound and find it. Or I need you to nod if you agree with me, or shake your head if you don't. These sorts of interactions that you need to do to keep the story moving along. And there is some skill involved. There's another app that isn't quite published yet called Framed that has a similar focus on the interactive novel type experience in the espionage space. And that one has you ducking at a certain point. And I really like this as a control mechanism. If you speak to, so at some point somebody asks you, do you understand me? And if you say yes, you lose, because he told you earlier that you're not supposed to speak. But if you nod, he's like, good, that sort of thing. So Dead Drop Desperado is a really cool 2-player experience where one person is holding the phone and sending bullets, and the other person is this sort of cactus character and has to kind of spatially dodge the bullets. So I'd be standing here sending bullets, and my partner here would be listening for where the bullets are coming from and trying to dodge. And there's a leaderboard, and it's just fun little competitive bite-sized experience. So getting into more of the useful things that you can do, let's talk about travel. There's a number of experiences in the travel space already, and we're talking to more and more companies that are interested in doing spatial walking tours, et cetera. It's just low-hanging fruit. One company we've worked with already is Autocast, and Autocast does walking tours. And for South by Southwest, they set up a few, first of all, they re-architected their app to support Bose AR. And using the GPS from the phone and directional heading from the compass, from the magnetometer on the device, they're able to, if you open the app and put it in your pocket, you can hear pings from different locations that have audio tours. So if I'm walking down a street and there's an old movie theater and I hear a ping to my left, I can turn and I can double tap, and then it will give me a brief description about it verbally. I think the ping is better than actually just saying the name of it. That sounds obnoxious if you have a number of different experiences calling out to you, right? So the ping is maybe a simpler bit of audio iconography and a way to do that. So if you tap and it's like, okay, this is the Old Town movie theater. Would you like to hear the tour? And you go, okay, yes. So you nod or tap. And then the tour starts playing. It plays all around you. You can walk around wherever you want. But then if you leave the geofenced area, it will ask you to double tap to confirm that you want to continue listening to the audio tour. Otherwise, it pops you back into that sort of unobtrusive spatial audio interface where you might be walking down the street, and if you hear a ping, you can decide. Naviguide AR is super useful because it actually pulls in data from Yelp, does something very similar in the sense that, but it's more of I guess, a pull than a push. So what I mean by that is you're walking down the street, and you see a restaurant you want to eat at. If you have Naviguide open and the feature turned on and your phone in your pocket, you could be with your friends. Like, do we want to eat here? I don't know. Is it any good? Hang on, let me check. You can double tap, and it will pull in the ratings. So it'll say 3 stars from 500 people from Yelp. And you can say, oh, it only has 3 stars. Let's move on, all without taking out your phone. It's that sort of simple use case that allows you to kind of not have to stare at a screen for a couple extra seconds a day, which I'm totally on board with. Walk is another app that sits somewhere in the middle of those as well. Sports and wellness, this is fun. Golf Shot is actually available in the App Store. New Balance and Headspace so far are demos. Golf Shot has a really neat feature where it can help you kind of wayfind along the green. And if you're wearing, for example, Bose frames, which might make sense for playing golf, sunglasses with audio, you can kind of get a little leg up and some extra information about how you might want to position your shot, what's over the bend, et cetera, based on the GPS from the phone and the directional heading based on where you're facing. New Balance, I really like this demo. These are actually the people that were doing the jumping jack recognizers. So they do jumping jacks, they do squats, they do push-ups, and basically just give you encouragement when you do your reps. Headspace, I thought this was really interesting. What Headspace ended up doing for South by Southwest with us is, anybody here familiar with Headspace? It's like a guided meditation app. I love Headspace, I recommend it. They didn't pay me, I promise. And so before you do your guided meditation, they're gonna ask you to roll your neck around in a circle, and when you complete the circle, the comforting British voice, again, with the British voices, right? It really is, I swear, the guy in Headspace, he's like, good job, now, next up. Sorry, that's how he sounds to me. But so then after you do that, I ask you, like, put your head this way and this way. Those are all custom gesture recognizers. Where I think the real interesting use case that I haven't seen realized yet is with guided meditation, is in spatial soundscapes. So, and this was not part of the Headspace demo. I just want to put this out there in case anybody's interested in doing it. In Headspace itself, there's a feature where you can relax for the night with soundscapes. And so there's like a crackling fire in a desert. And what if, instead of that just being like a static sound, you could play that over the guided meditation in a spatial way so that the fire sounds like it's in front of me. If I turn left, I hear the owl hooting, and I hear the fire crackling, and the voice is talking over it. It really is very transportive when you make it spatialized. Last but not least, music. So I mentioned the Bose Radar app a little earlier. So that has a lot of spatial audio soundscapes, including music that you can listen to in 360. You can download the app now. It's available if you have a Bose AR device. Traverse. This, actually, I'll get to Traverse last. So iHeartRadio is so far a demo as well. And that one basically showcases you selecting a station just by moving your head. So the idea is you are the tuner or whatever, right, on the radio. Traverse is really interesting because it kind of blends the audio-first approach with usage of ARKit on mobile, which I'm assuming most of you are familiar with, mobile-based AR for iOS. You take out the phone, and it asks you to scan the space, and that gives you a much more pixel-accurate 6 degrees of freedom readout of the space. And so whereas radar is 360, you can think of it as 3DOF, where the band is arrayed around you, but you're not going to walk towards a member, and that member gets closer. Traverse actually uses ARKit to place, for example, Elvis here, and the person playing strings here, and the violinist behind them. So you can actually close your eyes, walk up to them playing, and really feel like you're walking up to a real arrangement in 3D space. Definitely recommend Traverse, made by Jessica Brilhart. They got that quote there, and it's available in the App Store now. And I think it's won some awards. It's been at some festivals. It's really great. So if you want to learn more about experiences that are built with Bose AR, feel free to go to developer.bose.com/bose-ar/get-inspired. I got to get a bit.ly for this. But yeah, take a picture of that. We're going to be producing more stories about the developers that work with us to help inspire more creativity from others. But really, we're just creating an entirely new lane for augmented reality that gives you back your eyeballs and focuses on another sense. And I think there is definitely room in the market and the world for that method of thinking about augmentation. And I'll just leave you with a couple of ways that you can learn more. We're going to be at a number of events, obviously, going forward. Developer.bose.com/events is how you can learn more about those. We're specifically going to be running a few game jams with a great company called Playcrafting. One of them will be here in San Francisco, also in San Diego, Seattle, and New York. And then we have an ask from our early stage enterprise wearables group. They are building an industrial, a Bose AR wearable for the industrial space, for industrial use cases. And they're looking for interested companies to run a proof of concept or a pilot program for the purpose of building a Bose AR experiences that can work in loud, noisy, dangerous, industrial hazardous environments. If you're interested, Alyssa Brusser is actually here. She may be in the room. I don't know. If you are, just give a woot. But she'll be around. You can also email her. Where's that? Where's that? Hi, Alyssa. There she is. If you want to find her there. And also you can email Glenn if you're interested in potentially participating in a proof of concept or a pilot program around that. And that's really all I have. I actually made good time, right about on time. I don't have time for questions, but feel free to come up to me after. I'm going to go hide this guy. Thanks for listening, and I hope you're as excited as I am to have this platform be filled with content going forward. Thank you.